DivaDeets, the ultimate podcast for women over 40 who are ready to take control of their health, ditch the diets, and lose weight for good. I'm your host and coach, Danya Powers. And in our last episode, we talked about how being a caretaker could take everything over. And in this episode, we're going to talk about a guilt-free blueprint, some practical things that you can implement, how to take care of others without losing yourself. So, remember last time we talked about how many women over 40 get stuck in their weight loss, and it's not just about the food or the exercise, it's about carrying the invisible weight of everything and everyone else. But today we flip the script. And if you're ready to start showing up show up with yourself, but show up for yourself without guilt, without burnout, or without letting go of what matters most. This episode is going to be your blueprint. So I hope you'll save it and I hope you'll share it with others because I do think it can really, really change some women's life. We're going to redefine what it means to take care of others first, okay? So, so many women tie their worth, how much they're worth, to what they do for others. And I realized this when my daughter had her first baby because she has very much attached her worth to her job. She wasn't intending to have a baby. This was an unplanned pregnancy. We are so excited about him, so don't think that it's like a bad thing. But the realization that she was a career-driven person. She has climbed the corporate ladder. She loves what she does. She loves being kind of the boss lady in charge at what she does. And when she was pregnant with the baby, the intention was, I'm still going to be doing my job. This is what we're doing. We're going to be, childcare, this and that and everything. I'm supportive of whatever you decide. So I'm figuring out how to back all this up. And I claimed Wednesday as Dee Dee Day so that I could always spend every Wednesday with Ezra. And she, as she was going through the pregnancy, she had such a hard pregnancy. Y'all, you've heard about those nightmare pregnancies where someone throws up 24/7, 9 months. That was Leah. She was so ill with this pregnancy. The baby weighed 8.5 pounds. All of us were shocked because she lived on watermelon and cheese. She grew a baby out of watermelon and cheese. And so, um, her worth being attached to her job was still there. Enter the baby. And while she was pregnant, I didn't talk to her about it much, but everybody knows once you have a baby, you change. Something happens in you change. And so after she had the baby and she was talking about, you know, I feel better going back to work and everything. And I said, you need to open up yourself to the possibility that you might change your mind and you need to give yourself permission to do that. And a lot of you are like, that is wise. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't think she was open to that at first. I think she was like, yeah, right, whatever. But then as things have evolved, he'll be 12 weeks on Monday. And she just went back to work. She went back part-time though, because she did open herself up to the possibility of leaving him for so many hours every single week. And she was not okay with it. And so she literally said to me, yeah, I'm glad you said that to me because I really did give myself permission to change my mind. And she has. She's completely changed the trajectory of the direction that she's going, starting up her own company. She's got some different stuff in the works that she is doing so that she can be home more. But her whole worth was attached to who she was as corporate America, Leah. And now she has a lot of worth attached to mom, right? We attach so much of our worth to what we're doing. When she was trying to join mom groups, we talked about mom groups. She wanted to be in mom groups where there are other career-driven women because every mom group that she was getting into, it was all stay-at-home moms and she just wasn't getting it. Now she kind of understands that shift a little bit more because it's like once you have this creature that you're supposed to, not only keep alive, but somehow teach and train and you do want to spend more time with it, not just as, hope that other people's influences are going to be the best for the baby. You know what I mean? So you can see her shifting. She still wants to work, and I think that's great. She just doesn't want to work as much, and she wants to be able to do what she needs to do to provide for her family, right? So I'm, as a mother, watching the evolution of her worth, what she's attaching her worth to, shift. And I say that because when you are constantly pouring out while ignoring your own needs, that eventually leads to resentment, fatigue, and eventually burnout. And that was what I was worried about for her. Because if she's going to be working full time, giving all of herself to that company, how much is she going to have left over for her husband and her baby, right? And I just know her really well. So that was where I was like, open yourself up to the possibility. Just keep your mind open, because it shifts you. It's just a huge shift in your world to become a parent. So you kind of just have to reframe things. You have to realize, I'm a better mom. I'm a better partner. I'm a better leader when I'm nourished, when I'm energized, and when I'm strong. It's really important to remember that. So replace I can't because of them with I must because of them. And a lot of things in your world will shift. And that was a really big part of what I was trying to get her to understand, is she, jumps into this new world. And so you may have some big things happening in your world that have giant shifts attached to them as well. And so you have to get your I can't out of the sentence and be like, I must. So you must take care of yourself because of them, because of this shift. If you're taking care of ailing parents, they need you at your top. They need you to be taking care of yourself, and they don't want you not taking care of yourself. They really don't. They want you healthy and strong. Um, all right, let's talk about my first tip. So your non-negotiable 30. This is really important. And it's hard to do at first because you think, "Oh my gosh," but I'm going to break it down for you so that it's really simple to implement. So carve out just 30 minutes a day that are non-negotiable. 30 whole minutes. Non-negotiable, okay? It's not for chores, it's not for errands, it's just for you. For me, my non-negotiable 30 usually involves my workout, because I love getting my workout in. I honestly, if I'm just being truthful with you today, totally transparent, I've not gotten it in yet. I have a photo shoot at 4 o'clock. I've got another client after this at 3, a photo shoot at the gym that I'm at for the Chamber of Commerce at 4. And that is when I'm going to get my workout in. When I'm at the gym, I'm back at the gym. No excuses, right? But I have not gotten it out yet today. But so my 30 hasn't happened yet. But notice how I've adapted it. It's still a non-negotiable in my day. I'm making it work for me. What could that look like for you? That could look like a morning walk, a quick workout, journaling, prepping your food. 30 minutes. Like, set a timer, non-negotiable. This is what I'm working on for 30 minutes. You'd be surprised at how much food you can get prepped in 30 minutes if you're paying attention. And if 30 minutes feels like too much, start with 10. If you can just figure out how to carve out any time consistently, show yourself it's doable. That's what I want from you. I want you to make sure that you're doing something that you can put into your world. I realize all of us are busy, but honestly, each of us is allotted 168 hours in the week. What you do with yours is really important, and it matters. How much are you giving it away to scrolling? How much are you giving away to Netflix, to Prime, to, whatever, Disney? How much are you giving away? And stop and pull some of that back in. It's yours. That 168 hours is precious. It is yours. So find something within that time that's doable. Next thing is, I want you to stop starving and start strategizing. So when you're stretched thin, not having food is going to cause a cataclysmic breakdown. You are going to have that domino effect that we talked about in the last episode, where that one domino is going to fall and the whole world needs to get out your way because you're hangry and you need something in your body. So the first thing to go is fueling yourself properly if you are not paying attention. So coffee becomes a meal, soda becomes a meal, wine becomes a reward. Those things happen to the ladies all the time. You skip meals all day and then you binge at night. The fix, stop going all day without nourishment. In fact, Brian is witness. I had a big, fat, high protein sandwich at right before this podcast, because I know I can't get on here and offer you anything if I don't have some fuel in my body. I am not going to get in front of a podcast and be hungry, because nothing good is going to come out of my mouth. Nothing that has some substantial meat to it that can even offer you anything of value if I haven't fueled, because you have to fuel. I also don't want to be starving, hungry, binging tonight, because I still have quite a bit of work to do today. And like I said earlier, I still have a workout to get in. So I need to make sure that there's fuel in my body, because my non-negotiable 30 still hasn't happened, and it's going to, because I have said that it would, right? So instead of thinking less, think smart. This is what I want you to do. Anchor meals around the fat loss formula. We're talking a lot about the fat loss formula in our 4-day challenge, but you're talking protein, fiber, healthy equals full, fueled, and focused. So protein, fiber, healthy, full, fueled, and focused. So make sure the first thing that you're putting in your mouth is some sort of protein. Make sure there's fiber within that. So like my sandwich, it was filled with turkey, right? It had lettuce, tomato, which is, got some fiber in it. And then it had bread, which is a great, source of carbohydrates. So I've definitely got something that's going to carry through, fuel my muscles, fuel my brain, keep me rolling, and keep me focused. The sandwich that I had is actually 42 grams of protein. Isn't that crazy that I know how much it is? But I know exactly how to log that for my coach to make sure that he knows that I'm staying on track with my goals so that I can hit my goals, but at the same time, I'm staying fueled so that I can offer you something. Simple go-to meals are really important to have on hand. I've already thrown away my little containers, but I have pre-made protein shakes on hand all the time because 30 grams of protein can rock your world. Just chugging 30 grams of protein makes a big difference in my life. It will make a big difference in yours. But Greek yogurt plus berries plus some kind of nut butter like peanut butter or almond butter, that is a great meal. You're going to have anywhere from 18 to 22 grams of protein in that meal, tons of fiber, and you're going to have some good carbohydrates that are going to help sustain you and keep your brain functioning. A protein shake, add bananas and chia seeds. You've got some good fats, you've got some good carbs, and you've got some excellent protein as our first source, right? What about rotisserie chicken? If you have a rotisserie chicken, pull it off the bone, throw it on a salad, put some avocado on it, bam, bam, bam. Throw a little bit of lemon juice on it or vinegar or salt, pepper, you're set. You have a great meal that's probably anywhere from 30 to 50 grams of protein, depending on how much chicken you put on it. It's got a healthy fat in it that's going to help stabilize your hormones. So think about your food as a fat loss formula because you're getting enough food so that your body is not storing fat and holding on and getting rid of your muscle, burning your muscle. You're giving it food to burn fuel for your fire. You're losing your fat and you're also keeping yourself nourished, which is the most important thing. Think about building your power plate. So you've got your plate, okay? Make one meal using that formula above. You've got protein plus fiber plus healthy, protein plus fiber plus healthy on your plate. Okay. All of that is going to make a big difference. Make sure that your protein is about the size of your hand and you're set. You're golden. You're good for the rest of your plate. So, and then you know what? Snap a picture of it. People like to watch your progress. Snap a picture of it and then see how differently you feel. Even if you don't share that with social media, you've got a picture of what you ate. That's going to make a difference in your day. You're going to know that you have done what you need to do to get yourself closer to your goal and not further away. Pack that same go-to combo if you are caregiving or at work. That go-to combo, protein plus fiber plus healthy, that is your winning combo. That's your fat loss magic right there. I can't end this podcast without talking about the silent burnout of the strong one. I do believe that there are strong ones in every family. I think there are ones that are called out. I don't know that I'm the strong one, but I will say all of my siblings, all of my siblings, except for my older brother, have lived with me at some point, needed a launching place. I have either had them live with me, helped them move, helped them take care of their babies when they were little, for the first couple weeks of their life, or, just in general been a soft place for my siblings to land when they were going through rough patches. And so I feel like I've been a person our whole lives that they turned to and leaned on. Now, having said that, as we've all gotten older and grown up, a lot of them have gotten strong on their own, which is what you want. They raising their own families, they're doing their own thing. But for the most part, if you find that you are the glue, the planner, the caretaker, um, probably no one's checking on you. And so over time, that invisible burnout shows up as the biggest one is fatigue. I'm exhausted, is what women tell me. I'm just exhausted all the time. My first immediate reaction in my head is, well, you're probably the glue. You're probably the one thing just keeping all the shit together for everybody around you. And so, along with fatigue is going to come mood swings. Along with mood swings is going to come weight gain. And then you have that little backup of resentment following all of that along. And so you can't pour from an empty cup. And I know you hear that, but do you hear me? You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep trying to give people something that's not there. You have to choose to fill it back up. But even though you can't pour from an empty cup, it doesn't mean that you drop the cup altogether. It means that filling your cup first so it overflows is a top priority. So you have plenty to give others and also yourself. So, one of the things that my coach has been talking to me about through the years is one yes, one no. Okay. Today, say some yes to something that fuels you. Yes to the good food, the fat loss formula plate that we talked about. Yes to that. Yes to that. And say no to something that drains you. Get good at the word no. I will say at 49, it's a lot easier for me to say no. In fact, when somebody calls me, trying to sell me something online, I'll say, no, thank you. Remove me from your call list. You know what I mean? Like, it's like one of those things where I've gotten really good at saying no and then making sure that that doesn't happen again because I don't want it. And so get good at removing yourself from call lists, not just for salespeople, but for anything in your life that is draining you. Because once you refuel, maybe you can revisit some of that stuff again. But if it's draining you, it's something you need to remove. If it's not filling you up, you need to take it out of your life. And watch how powerful you feel when you protect your energy. We had a funeral this last weekend. David's cousin passed away, and he was an amazing person. His son gave his eulogy, and I loved what he said about him. He had been diagnosed, I believe it was stage 4 cancer that he was diagnosed with a couple of years ago. So we were all praying. His name was Jeff, and we're all praying for him. And his son, from the pulpit said he was the worst cancer patient ever. While he had cancer, he went to Jerusalem, got baptized in the Jordan. He was a scorekeeper for the PGA Tour at the Augusta Golf, whatever. I know nothing about golf, and he loved working with children, and so he would help build the stage for VBS. And while he was working on the stage for VBS, he went out to his truck to get something, and they, had it on video. And I guess he either had a heart attack or an aneurysm and died while he was trying to open it. He just literally reached out and it was just gone. Cancer didn't get him. He was basically cured of cancer. They were like baffled by, we don't see any more cancer. But, it's one of those things where he was doing something that filled him up. And so he became more active upon the diagnosis of cancer than less. And then we watched the cancer disappear. And that wasn't even what took him out of this realm, That's what you have to look at for your life. Like, are you doing things that fill you up? And I think Jeff got good at saying, no, take me off your call list. And he was probably one of the most joyful human beings that I ever met in my whole life. It was always an honor to spend time with him. Always. And this is what's leading me into this next part. I want you to get good at ditching the guilt. Keep the progress, but ditch the guilt. Okay. When we were talking in the last podcast, guilt is a big part of what keeps us in a caretaker role. Boy, what happens? What's going to happen if? What's going to happen if? Guilt for working out instead of taking care of a loved one. Guilt for working out instead of cleaning your house. That's going to get dirty again. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? Where I'm going with this? Guilt for preparing your food instead of making cookies. Because your kids want cookies and you feel guilty because I'm prepping my chicken instead. You feel guilty for putting you first. And I do get a lot of backlash from people who are like, everybody's so self-involved. They're self-involved in the wrong way. If you are not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of other human beings. You have to reframe what you're thinking. You have to reframe what you're saying. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm finally choosing to include myself and taking care of me. And that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. Guilt doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're changing. And change is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable for not just for you, but for the people that are used to having their leech lines into you. You know what I mean? There are sometimes, and this, some of the people in your life, just spending time with them, you feel drained. You feel completely drained. And that's when you have to ask yourself, is this draining me or fueling me? And you really, at this age, half your life is gone. How do you want to spend the rest of it? Drained or fueled? So practice long-term peace over short-term people pleasing. Overcoming people pleasing to this day. There is a great book by Joyce Meyer It is called Approval Addiction. And whether you hate her or not, that book is phenomenal. It makes you aware of how much you are doing to compromise yourself to make sure that other people are okay. And I will give you just an example of what I walk through. So like when you go to a restaurant, if what you ordered is not right, do you return the food? Because I don't. And I need to get good at that because I've paid for a service. I need to make sure that it's food that I ordered. And there's a way to do it where you're not being disrespectful. But my fear of upsetting someone or ruining their day or being responsible for ruining their day, those things, my husband just like is, honey, it's their job. This is their job. You know what I mean? Like he just is blown away. And he finally will be like, just never mind, just forget it. Because I'll be like, no, 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 no. But that's called approval addiction. I'm more worried about the fact that I'm going to upset someone, rock the boat, create waves than I am about taking care of myself and having food that's not raw or whatever it is that I, should be paying attention to. And I'm compromising myself. And that's a really good example of, you know, choosing short-term people pleasing over long-term peace, because for the rest of my life I'm going to think about that, what I should have said, what I should have done. I should have just, what I should, am I the only person that does that? It's like this cycle of, constant shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, couldas. And so this is called the post-it practice, or at least that's what I call it, and it does help. Write this on a post-it and put it on your mirror or your fridge, and it says, I'm allowed to take up space in my own life. Beside that, I have another post-it that says, change one person's life today. And I have them side by side because if I am not taking the time to take up space, I cannot change one person's life today. And I remember in the letter, we write a letter to our kids that they put inside of the yearbook at this private school that my son went to. And in the letter, I said to him, you're allowed to take up space. And I think it's so important that we remember that, because if we don't learn how to do that, we're never going to be taking care of ourselves. One of the conferences that I went to, his name's Brian Mark. He's one of my mentors in my life. And he would make us stand on a chair and scream to everybody in the room, I am Danya, and I'm meant to take up space. And it's important to remember that who you are is meant to take up space. So put that on a post-it, put it on your mirror or fridge, along with your devotionals, along with whatever affirmations you say, along with whatever. Mine is change one person's life today. I can't do that unless I am allowed to take up space in my own life. You need that as well. Read it every single morning before you go pour into others. Remember that you are meant for purpose. You are meant for a calling in your life. And you've been taking care of everybody else and not you. And I want you to understand that it's okay to take care of you. You don't need more hustle. You don't need more sacrifice. You don't need more self-blame. What you need is a new system. A new system, one that finally includes you in it. And when you eat with intention, when you move with purpose, or you protect your peace, weight loss doesn't feel like punishment. It just doesn't. It feels like you are coming home to yourself, and you have a lot of peace within every single thing that you do. And you feel a lot more comfortable with who you're becoming. You're not stuck so much in people pleasing as you are in serving the people around you, because you do have so much more to offer. This is how you keep your promises to others without breaking the ones that you've made to yourself. And I want you to remember that today. So if this episode hit home for you, I want you to message me the word. What would be a good word for this one? Let's do caretaker, blueprint, or caretaker. Message me the word caretaker, and I'll know that you've watched this episode. And I can even send you something that will even take you further along. You can head to Empowered Coaching, my website, www.empoweredcoaching.com, or you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Danya Powers EC. Reach out, message me, find me on Facebook, Danya Powers. I would love to learn how we could work together. And you know what? I appreciate and love you, and I see you. I see you, and I hear you guys writing me messages and asking me, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? I'm struggling with this. I'm fully exhausted. I feel so guilty. This is how. So save this episode, share it with a friend, and until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas. Thanks for tuning into this latest episode of the DivaDeets. If this helped you and you found it valuable, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Ready for more support? Join my free Facebook community or join my coaching community. The details are in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas.